Okay, we are in Shmuel Aleph. We're in chapter 18 and verse 5. Please subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. Hit the bell for notifications. And that way, bring me up to 1,000. If you just have 900 more to go, you can make it. Your vote counts here. Okay, we are, like I said, on chapter... Okay, what's going on is the Malbim is looking at how David got power. It wasn't a very quick ascension to power. It was going in stages. And the first stage would have been that, I think that he identified the first stage was that he fought Goliath and so on and so forth. We're seeing a growth in he says no, from that Jonathan is making the treaty with him. That was the first step towards the ascension to the king. Now, again, Jonathan does not know he's becoming the king. Saul does not know he's becoming the king. The only one that knows that David will be the next king of Israel is Shmuel, the one who anointed David, and David himself. David's parents don't know his brothers. Nobody else knows.
I thought his brothers were in the same room at the same time.
No. It was all secret. Only David knows, and not even his father knows. It's only Shmuel and David who knows that.
It was a group scene or something.
No, it was, no. If you go back, you'll see it wasn't. Right. It was a very private situation because the boys knew that they would have got involved. You know, they wouldn't have said what he's doing on the field, and they wouldn't have treated him in such a way of go back home. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, Saul certainly doesn't know, but what's happening is the Malbim is showing how and why the people would accept David. Okay, so one, he has the love of Jonathan. Two was that he was going to marry into the king's family.
And at this point, Jonathan had no reason to believe that he would not be, or did he think that he would not be?
Jonathan had no reason to believe he would not be the next king.
No reason to not believe, yeah.
Right. He also had no reason to believe that his father would be dead in 2 years. But things happen.
King even before then.
Say it again?
He wasn't king up until the time he died, was he?
Who?
Saul.
Saul was king until he died.
Up until the time.
Until the day he died.
All right.
And it's interesting that he is always referred to, at least by David, as Mashiach Hashem, the anointed of Hashem.
But only while he was alive.
Even through it, even after that, he'll always be referred to as Mashiach Hashem, because anointed by God means you were picked by God. That's where the whole Mashiach, that's why when people come to me and say about Christianity, about Mashiach, and one guy stopped me, I won't go through the whole story because this is a long story, but one guy stopped me at 5 in the morning to talk about Mashiach, and I said, we've had a lot of Mashiachs in our history. Every king has Mashiach. Every high priest was called Mashiach because they were all anointed. They're all anointed in the name of Hashem. So it's not just one Mashiach. What the Mashiach means, anointed to be the leader. That's all it is. So we've had Mashiachot, real Mashiachot. That is. So we're waiting for the last one. It's true. We're waiting for the final descendant of David to bring us to the promised land. Okay, no problem. But we've had many Mashiachs. Okay, and so he's always going to be referred to as Mashiach Hashem until the very last day, and even through that, David will always love him, as David doesn't seem to have a negativity towards his future father-in-law, certainly not his future father-in-law, but even after he's married to his father-in-law. Even though his father-in-law is trying to kill him all the way through, he doesn't take it personally, if you will.
That's hard not to do.
Doesn't his name mean he has been requested or asked for?
I mean, Shaul is, it comes from that, also borrowed. Okay. Right? Yeah.
Or selected.
Ask it, right, you're asking. It comes from Saul, ask. Okay, so like I said, so we're just going through the steps. So then it says right here, Vayetze David, so David went out, Bechol asher yishalchenu Shaul, and all that Shaul sent him, Yaskel, he would be successful. V'yisimeu Shaul, and Shaul will put him al anshe milchama, as over the men of the war. Vayita b'nei kolam, and it was good in the eyes of all the people. V'gam b'nei avdei Shaul, and also in the eyes of the servants of Shaul. So he's quite a popular leader, and everything's going well for him. So, and that's the fourth step. So Malbim says, "V'yetze gam hosif lahatzliach b'milchamato." He was also added that he was successful in the wars, neged the Pelishtim, opposite the Pelishtim. In other words, he was beating the Pelishtim, and therefore lechein sameu Shaul l'sar tzava. That's why Shaul appoints him to be the officer of the army. And that's number 5. Number 6. And also in this way he was successful. That he found favor in the eyes of all the people. And also these in the eyes of the servants of Shaul. And they weren't jealous of him. That he was ruling over them. And so now he quotes the Tehillim, I think it's Tehillim, where it says, it is Tehillim, where it says the stone that was rejected by the builders becomes the leader. Okay, that's talking about the stone that would be the of the temple. But he's using this in a poetic fashion, that everybody looked at David like in his family he was a reject, he was the youngest, he was ruddy, he was this, he was that, nobody respected it. And now suddenly, because of his tremendous success in the battles, he is becoming beloved by the people, beloved by the servants of Shaul. Shaul already loves him anyway, and they weren't jealous of him because of his status, which is not normal either. Remember, he's a young upstart. So a young upstart normally is going to have enemies coming up, right? Because why should he? I've been in this army for 12 years, and he's been only here for two minutes, and suddenly he's running the show, right? So it's not, although, okay, granted, it's only 1 year or 2 years, but it's nonetheless, people get jealous for the dumbest things, okay? The worst thing, by the way, to do is when you are in the rabbinate, is to have the old rabbi stay there. The worst thing, in other words, what happens is many times the rabbi wants to retire. So he becomes what we call the disease called Rabbi Emeritus.
Oh, that's a disease.
That's a disease. Truthfully, it's the Rabbi Emeritus. It catches the next generation. Yeah. But the Rabbi Emeritus is the guy who's there, the reason that he stays on, by the way, is he doesn't get paid. It's just a honorary title, right? Honorary title. It's not getting paid, but he stays in because he has a house. That's really his problem. He has a house in the area. He's not willing to move because he's been there for 50 years, or whatever, as long as he's been there. So now the new guy comes in. Now, assuming the rabbi was a beloved rabbi, if he was if he wasn't beloved, he's not going to stay in the area. So he's a beloved rabbi, and people got used to going to him. Okay, so now the new guy comes in. What happens? He has to, try to win over the crowd. Mm-hmm. Now the Rabbi Emeritus is first pushing everybody to this new guy because, look, I want to retire, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, there's a part of that Rabbi Emeritus that still wants to be the boss. Mm-hmm. Many of them. I'm not saying, by the way, there are some rabbis who pull away totally, and they're very happy, and they say, I don't need the title, I'm just a simple congregant, please go to the rabbi. And they are truly gentlemen about it. They will back off, and they will have nothing to do with it anymore.
But what if a family wants to go to the rabbi that they've known for generations, that you can't say...
No, so he would say, as long as the rabbi gives me permission, I'll do it. In other words, you totally defer. When I go into play, I'm not a Rabbi Emeritus, thank God, anywhere, but it's certainly when I go to certain places that know me, and there's a rabbi there, and they would say to me, Rabbi, they're talking to me, Rabbi, give the class. And I said, no. You have a rabbi, you have the rabbi there, let the rabbi give the class. But you're a rabbi too. I said, I am a rabbi, but he's the rabbi. There's a difference here. And when they would come to ask me questions, go to the rabbi.
You're the lowercase rabbi.
I'm the lowercase. I'm just a rabbi.
He's the uppercase.
He's the boss. So I always would defer to that because that's what we were told actually in Yeshiva University.
Sure. What
kind of chutzpah do you have? If you walk into a place, everybody's going to want to come to you because either you're more lenient or more, whatever they have. They don't want to make a fight with the rabbi. So you have to be, it's part of your collegiate duty to say no. So like I said, some people will back off very nicely and go away and just drift into the sunset. And others get a little jealous of the new power. Okay, so that's really what he's referring to. Now, this is the same with everything. If I've been working in a place for many years and suddenly somebody comes up from the ranks who has been there for New York Minute and is running the place, normal thing is for us to get jealous. The beauty of the Jewish people with David was nobody got jealous. Even though he was, like I said, rising through the ranks very quickly, still, because of how it was happening and his success rate, they all loved him. And apparently he wasn't, because this is something else that when you're trying to maneuver people, he wasn't being...
he was maintaining his modesty.
Right, right. Good, thank you. He
He
didn't let it get to his head.
Yeah, it was a question of stature, not swagger.
Right, good,
Because
okay.
the stature matters far more.
Right, so that's what it was. People were enjoying him. It was good at this point. There was no problem. Great. So now, Vayihi b'voam b'shuv David me'akod ha'plishin. So now, when it was coming close to David was returning from smiting the Pelishtim, Tetzena hanashim we call Are Yisrael l'shir, and so the women came out from all of the cities of the Jews to sing and v'mechalot and to with the drums, yeah. And the Krat Shaul HaMelech, V'simcha V'shalishim, and to meet Saul the king with, again, a type of drum, with joy and with Shalishim. Was it?
Says cymbals.
Cymbals, okay.
And another thing that I think, this says timbrels.
Timbrels,
Which
okay.
I think was that other thing that were a different kind of drum.
Okay, there you go. I know they're all drums. There's all different types of musical.
Is it related to Shalish?
To what?
Shalish is probably was. You said what did you call them? Timbrels.
Timbrels.
Okay.
Symbols. Is that
Symbols.
Well, I gave you two words.
The last word.
The last one was symbols.
Symbols.
It's showing symbols. Yeah.
The
Okay.
last one was
Okay.
the
I'm
last
trying to
word.
read
It's
like
silsilen.
the root word of shlishim.
Right, it could be. Yeah, so you have to know how it was made. Maybe because you have to.
Yeah, I mean, because symbol, there's like two things coming together, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's three. I'm not sure, but it's. I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure.
Also, is there a word for the little things they wear around their fingers and cling together?
Castanets.
What are those called?
Castanets.
Castanets?
That's only for Sephardim.
They were all Sephardim. Okay. So now it says number six on the hit list. Why he's becoming a big rabbi, a big leader. It was when he came. Now it says. So Malbim continues. Me'ata yisapir. From now, he's telling Eich pit or hetzlachto kasahu that how quickly the light of his success became darkened by clouds. Again, another poetic term. Nistam, and now he began to be hated. Pa'am, and he pursued time after time, and he would be pursued time after time from Shmuel. Okay, he'd have to run. He had to run time after time from Shmuel. And this would be the reason for his ascension to the kingdom. That which we were told until now. That was when Shaul. You don't have this yet. I'm in the comments. Okay, so until now we've been told everything's going on while Shaul was sitting in the valley of Terebinth. Because after his victory over the Pelishtim, they remained in that valley in the camp. Misham Hitgaru milchamo b'shcheneihem v'saviv, and from there they waged battle with their neighbors around them. David, Maskil, and David was successful. Vayhi Rosh, and became the leader. Va'az Sham Shaul epanav l'shuv l'beito, and at that the Givol Shaul. At that point, Shaul wanted to go back home. He was tired of being on the front already. The front had everything had been finished. And that's why it says Vayhi bevoam. When they were coming, where they were going, they wanted to go back to their homes. Veshuv David ki az. So then, when David was returning, ki az huval imo rosh Pelishti leharoto ba'arei Yisrael. So they returned to go back to see the cities of Israel. Shavru derech sham ad shenichu b'Yishalayim, till they came to Yerushalayim. Okay, az yatzu anashim. At that juncture, the women came out. But then remember, they're coming back, the victory walk, if you will. Okay, they're coming back from all the cities, so the women from all the cities of Israel. Sha'avru sham l'sir mechalot al hansuach. So they were going to sing and dance and playing the drums because of the victory. V'sefer katuv. And now the verse says, Kitzetam. When they went out, Hayel ekrot Shaul HaMelech, they had gone out to meet Shaul HaMelech. That's what they were going out for. Okay? Lo likra David, they weren't going out to meet David. Ki yadu uzot she'en cholkin kavod le'ev b'mnei v'arbo, because it's known, they knew that you do not show kavod to the servant before the king. Right? It's not nice. It's like when you see a child with the father, who do you say hi to first? Who?
The father.
The father. It's only proper. You don't say hi, little tzadikal. Hey, mister. You don't do that. You say, how are you doing, Mr. Tzadikal? How are you today? It's simple derech eretz.
Yeah.
V'lo ala alev adam klal lechaved et David. And it didn't come up on anybody's heart at that juncture just to honor David at that juncture. V'av ki higdil ma'alto al ma'alat Shaul shezeh mara b'malchut. And certainly to praise David more than Shaul at that point would have been to rebelling against the kingdom. Okay, that's the introduction. Now listen to what they say. Ta'anena ha-nashim ha-misachakot.
Are you starting at?
I'm in the verse, chapter
7, right?
7.
Very good.
Okay, so now the women would answer. And it's again, ha-misachakot it seems to be in a from joy. Now sachakot also is jeering.
Is what?
J-E-E. Jeering.
Jeering.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can also mean that. So it can also mean in a fun manner. It can mean in a joking manner, in a fun manner, in a sarcastic. There's a lot of things that sachak could mean.
Oh.
Okay?
Well,
All depends on how you say it.
It sounds like Yitzchak, which means joke.
Correct. Laughter. Right.
All
Right.
Ah.
It's all come from the same thing. Okay? So the Masudas David says misamchot. They were happy. Bottom line is, these women who were happy, and they Vatomar, and they said, Hika Shaul ba'alavav. Shaul has killed thousands of David b'mir v'votav, and David his 10,000s. Who's being praised more?
Sounds like David.
David. Now they're coming out to praise Shaul, and as a chant, they're saying David again. Praise to Shaul for killing the thousands, and David was 10,000s. Okay, so you already see that there's going to be a problem here. So Rashi, so Malbim says, Ratz Lamar lo mishorot shehem medabrot divrei shir kafi atzmot hadibur. It wasn't the mishorot, it wasn't the singers that spoke these words by themselves. Rak hamesachakot. Only these words were said in a joking manner.
What, the thousands and 10,000?
Yeah, it was just a joking manner. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously.
Oh.
Okay? Dibur ba'al shtepanim The Oris Chok v'Simcha. It was spoken on two. It was a two-sided thing to awaken in people laughter and joy. Ve'hein anuzor, and they answered this. They sang that. They didn't. Their intent was not truly to aggrandize David that he killed 10,000.
And it wasn't as an insult to Saul either.
Right. It wasn't meant to do that. Because it's the opposite. The victory is one with less people. You're lessening it.
They were giddy. They were just celebrating. They were
Right,
giddy.
right. Rak Amru Shegodel and Sichon Shenatzach Shaul, but really they were saying the greatest victory was that Shaul and his son were victorious. Ayalo Rak Alafim, they had thousands. Kenizkar Tamala, like is said above. Al Sichon David, on as compared to the victory of David. Shayu Imo Revolt. Yisrael. By the way, the Malbim is taking this another way too. Let me have the English, please. Okay, because in the English they're saying, Saul has slain his thousands, David his 10,000s. Okay, that's what they want to say. He says, cheering women sing out. Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah. According to the Malbim, the reason he's turning this on his head is he's saying that that Shaul killed with his thousands. He had a smaller troop, and David with his tens of thousands, a bigger troop. So he had a bigger troop. So they said, I can hear two ways. I can hear David killed 10,000s with 1,000. In other words, he has more people going with him than Shaul. But when's the best? Again, just follow it before we get into the English part of it, because that's Malbim saying.
Time question, but go ahead.
Okay, but Malbim was looking at this and saying that the biggest victory is when I have less numbers. In other words, if I only have 1,000 and I'm destroying an army versus 10,000, I'm destroying the same army. Who's the bigger general?
Who is the bigger underdog?
No, who's the bigger general in that? The one who had 1,000 versus the one who has 10,000. Right, the one who's free. So he's the better general. But Shaul didn't hear like that. Shaul heard the way the English wants to put it. David, he killed thousands, and David killed 10,000. So that's what's going to be jealous. Let me just finish off what's going on. I was going to be like Revavod. So he said, or the kavana in the word Revavod, al havanim sharaba, meaning rova keshet. Okay, it could be on the stones. Ulam bat Shaul lekacha devarim kafi pashtam. But Shaul took the words literally. Ki ilu kavanu. Shishrael asher im David rabim asher im Shaul. He took it literally that there were more Jews with David than with Shaul, showing that Shaul was a less liked king, and so he takes it personally. Your question is?
How much time has passed from 1749 to 1809?
Not much. Not much. You have very little time. You have
They
say the Malbim is saying they didn't leave the valley, so you're having let's say it's 6 months tops. I don't believe even that long.
It's hard to tell how long after that one with David and Goliath did they come back and the rest of this happened.
I'm telling you, within months. So within months, Shaul is only king for 2 years, and then he dies. So he does not have a very long reign at all. And and on top of that, he was taken out of his reign probably within the first 3 months, if I had to guess.
And that was because he didn't follow orders with regard to that.
With regard to offering the killing off Amalek.
Having mercy on
Right,
not killing
right,
Goliath.
right.
So how long from that battle to the David and Goliath battle?
Again, I'm guessing at this point 3 months. It's all very short. If you only have 2 years, you have to get a lot in 2 years. And he has to chase his son-in-law around and so on and so forth. And then he's going to end up dying in battle. That's the end of the book, yeah. That's the end of the book is he dies in the battle. So he gets killed. But the whole thing is altogether 2 years. So it's happening very, very quickly. He gets a kingdom and dies faster than the government's going to be working. Okay?
Yeah.
Everything is moving. I mean, the Congress wouldn't. You couldn't sit on this one. You had to keep moving for the storyline to happen. Things are happening constantly. I mean, the Philistines. It would make sense, by the way, for the Philistines to keep attacking, just logically, because they see that there's a crack in the system. There's a lot of unrest amongst the Israelites. Things are moving too quickly. So when's the best time to attack? When people don't know what's going on.
But they were not only in retreat, they were running away from the...
Again, they run away for a scrimmage and so on and so forth. But it's that's why they keep coming back.
I mean, retreat is a formal order, but when they just scatter...
I'm saying that's why they keep coming back. Because the people realize that, and I think, this is my take on it, they realize that there's something wrong within the Jewish people, that we have unrest, we have all these things going on. Yeah, they're victorious now, but give them a little time, they're going to mess up, because they really don't
it's interesting that
know what's going on.
That the vanquished are typically more united after a loss than the winners are united after a victory.
Correct.
It's interesting.
There's always, though. There's always.
The losers are more united.
The losers are united because they're losers. So they go back and they lick their wounds and they talk about what we should have done, and then they try to gather themselves to do it. Some of them are successful, some of them are not successful. But the winners, now, there's an expression that this in the world, it goes something like this, that the rebels of today are successful until they become the leaders, because then they have to run the show. And when you have to run the show, you suddenly realize somebody has to pick the garbage up. And it's not as glorious as you once thought it would be. So that is, there's a saying like that. I forget what the saying is, but it's, you really don't want to win. You always want to remain the underdog, because then you can pull all this mishigas out. But once that what happened to Hamas when they won the election? They had to become a government. And that was their worst day. It really was their worst day.
Gaza, you mean?
Gaza, wherever they are, they became an entity that people, they were freely elected, whatever that means.
Yeah, well, they went from rebels to leaders.
Right, and so now they have to worry about everything. And what happens, instead of being beloved leaders, now beloved rebel leaders, now they're hated by their constituents because they're starving them.
Because they can't make the buses run out.
Right, they can't, right.
It's like the movie The Mouse That Roared.
Okay, I think I remember that.
We made a mistake, we won.
Right. But that's really what happened. So that's why when you're licking your wounds, it's much easier to talk and to figure things out. And, you know, look at our political system. I only have a couple minutes, so I'll get lost in politics for 1 second. If you look at our system, when President Obama was pushing Obamacare, before he passed it, right? Before he sold out everybody to pass that, and even his home, it was on his party ground. Everybody, they had a super Congress. If you remember back when he first became the president, there was a super Congress. It was all him, just like Trump. They had the same thing, okay? And they could have passed anything they wanted, and nobody could have said anything. The Republicans, even if they would sit down and say no, fight all they want, they would have lost. That's how they called it a super Congress, I think.
A majority.
No, a super majority. They had a super majority. I'm not sure what the nafkameen is.
Is the president and both houses of Congress?
They had everything. He had everything. Okay, and what happened was when he was trying to sell Obama, the
majority means more than the amount necessary.
Okay, so that's what he had. That's what he had. He could have passed anything, and same thing as Trump. Okay, Trump also had it. But when it came to Obama trying to pass the Affordable Care Act, he had to sell everybody and give away the farm, and still couldn't get it done until the majority was gone, and then finally they did something. But it was. But the point is, they couldn't get it done. Okay. The Democrats now at 8 years. I'm sorry. The Republicans had 8 years to figure out a plan. 8 years. Instead of fighting out with the president to kick him out, to do this, 8 years to do something. Okay, great. They never thought they'd win again. And lo and behold, Trump wins. They're like, what?
Yeah.
How did that work? I don't get this. Okay. Now, nonetheless, now they have to put forth a plan. You would think in 8 years they could come up with something?
Yeah, so you're saying the first 2 years they could have done whatever.
They had nothing.
Yeah.
They had nothing, and you're thinking, you're a bunch of idiots. All you're doing is licking your wound, saying, what I would do if I was. Okay, that's the losers. You have some losers who actually do something, and then you have the losers who don't, and that's what we have in Congress today. Okay, that's if anybody's watching, I hope, well, maybe I'll be elected now. I always say, invite me for president. And we'll have to stop here anyway, but like I said, my last couple of minutes, I'll give my political rant.
When you're a rebel, there's only one way of seeing the truth. Once you're in charge, there's many, many truths.
Oh,
Correct.
Another
Correct.
example, Castro, when Castro took over, remember?
No, I don't remember that.
He was the beloved